Welcome to the STEM Confidence Podcast, where we talk about how to turn your data into powerful insights. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the STEM Confidence Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about how to get your ideas into slides that are coherent, make sense, and are easy for your audience to understand. If you want to learn how to prepare your presentations without stress and overwhelm, I suggest you keep listening. We are going to discuss a bulletproof formula that will allow you to prepare your slides in a record time and without any unnecessary pressure. So the method that I am going to talk about today is called the what, why, how method. And it consists, unsurprisingly, of building your talk and slides around one main message, followed by the explanation of why you decided to pursue that idea, and then describing how you did it. So without further ado, let's go over the three main components and how to incorporate them in a presentation with cohesive slides that make sense. The first thing you'll want to do when starting to prepare a talk is to think about one main message that you want to transmit. This is going to be the what part of the what, why, how method, and it is going to be sort of the heart of your entire talk. Whatever you decide to put in the talk will have to be in order to explain the what part. You can think of this part as the main ingredient of your dish. It is going to be kind of the star of the show. I usually suggest keeping your talk to one main message whenever possible. Sometimes people tell me, yeah, but I have more than one thing to say, and objectively, that is true. Sometimes you have more, but in general, people discuss perspectives in which they are solving a given problem. It is important to remember that the message is not the same thing as the perspective, since you can have one main message but different perspectives and points of view in which it is handled. Next, you are going to provide the context and motivation for your talk. Think of why what you are doing is important. Are there any findings that made you think about this problem, or why it is a task that should be tackled? This is a very sensitive part of your talk since it sets the stage for your solution. It kind of lays down the groundwork for your main point. So aim to provide a contextualization that suits your audience. Bear in mind that the same main message can be understood from different perspectives, so take into account who is listening to you. Let's say that you have scientists listening. They would probably need a more scientific context, whereas if you're talking to investors, for example, they will probably be more motivated to understand why this problem is relevant to them. Precision in this stage is vital, since failing to convey the appropriate context could lead to a lack of engagement of the audience, and this is exactly what we don't want. Finally, let's talk about the how aspect of your presentation. This section is adding richness and substance to your talk. Here, you will systematically walk through your methods, explaining the why behind your choices and how they contribute to your overall analysis. If, for instance, you implemented a 3-step methodology to obtain your results, it is crucial to provide a comprehensive explanation of each one of the 3 steps. It is often good to consider structuring this part in a method-result format and using bullet points to clearly outline the main findings. This will not only enhance the clarity of your presentation, but it also allows for a more organized and digestible understanding for your audience. Great! Now that we have figured out the what, the why, and the how of your talk, let's get into building the slides. Starting with the first slide. try to give it a catchy title that captures your main finding. Remember to always make it engaging and understandable. The next few slides, ideally not more than 3, should be dedicated to the introduction. Here, you basically talk about what you are going to talk about, and then you start providing some context, which is actually the why from the previous exercise. This why part usually takes a few minutes, and here I suggest that you use visuals that are engaging and that you try to explain the significance and importance of your problem. Once you've set the stage, you can jump into the how. This part can get tricky since it is usually full of jargon that might make some people confused. This is why you should keep it light and let people know they can always hit you with the questions at the end. If you believe that there are some points that might be harder to understand, you can always prepare some extra slides that would go to the supplementary part, just to be sure that you are able to answer questions and break things down. Next, divide your methods into separate slides and use the problem and result format. Of course, it goes without saying that you should not overload the slides. You should always let them breathe. Your words should do most of the heavy lifting, with the slides only backing you up with the plots and images. And finally, bring your points home with the conclusions. Sum up your main findings and tie them back to what you explained in the introduction. Here, I like to stick to the classic formula of tell them what you're going to tell them, and then remind them what you just told them. And for the final slide, present a take-home message and a concise summary that sort of encapsulates the essence of your presentation. This ensures that your audience leaves with a clear understanding of the key points that you've been discussing. And finally, making a good presentation is much more about your clarity than what you actually put into the slides. Slides are just the medium by which your message is going to be delivered. It is actually the clarity of your communication that truly resonates with your audience. And before diving into slide creation, take a moment to reflect on the most important elements of your talk. What is the key message? Why it is important? And how will you present and support your ideas? By establishing a solid foundation with a clear understanding of these aspects, you kind of pave the way for a compelling and impactful presentation. So, as you embark on building the slides, keep in mind that your delivery and connection with the audience matters most. Trust in your preparation, focus on the clarity of your message, and I'm confident that you will deliver an outstanding presentation. Thank you for listening, and until next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you are ready to elevate your communication skills and transform your data into valuable insights, schedule a free discovery call on the link in the description.